Republican candidate for governor Erin Stewart is facing new questions this morning about her handling of some of New Britain's finances during her time as the mayor there.
New documents show that hundreds of thousands of charges on a city credit card. Your reporter Owen Kingsley has more on what we're learning.
Well, what it shows is diapers, dinners, and many other things were purchased using her city credit card, racking up a more than $200,000 bill in 9 years. Now, this morning, many are asking whether some of these could have been personal purchases. Halloween costumes, kids' gummy vitamins, Costco trips, maternity clothes, and prints from a company that makes wedding invites just months before Stewart got married. Thousands of pages of files reveal the numerous things that Stewart bought using taxpayer dollars. She made bigger purchases too, like a membership to the private Hartford Club for over $18,000. On or around her birthday, for 4 straight years, she spent hundreds of dollars on dinners. All of these charges came between the years of 2016 and 2025. Taxpayers in New Britain want to hear from Stewart whether these were justifiable purchases with city funds.
Connecticut is already kind of high as far as tax and things of that nature, people trying to make ends meet. We're all in this together.
We've reached out to Stewart's campaign team, and as of right now, they are not making any comment about these allegations. Your reporter in New Britain, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, we asked Mayor Stewart, or former Mayor Stewart, for a comment, but her campaign only told us she would not be responding. However, one of her opponents in the Republican primary for governor says her alleged conduct should disqualify from the race. In a statement, State Senator Ryan Fazio said, quote, using taxpayer funds to pay for tens of thousands of dollars in personal expenses is a serious crime and a profound abuse of public trust, end quote. Connecticut Democrats called on Stewart to apologize, adding, quote, the people of New Britain deserve full repayment for all improper purchases, end quote.
We also got a copy of the city's credit card policy. It prohibits purchasing personal items and gifts. It also states that items bought with the card need to be used for business purposes only. It also limits purchases over $1,000 unless there are exceptions by the mayor or director of finance.